Welcome back to the Shrink Down. Terry recently shared a post in our group chat that gave us all pause. Well, apparently, 47 is officially the unhappiest age on record. So, since all four of us are in our 40s, we thought, is this really true? And if so, why is this true? So, today we're going to be talking about what we call the happiness U curve. And basically, what that is why midlife there's this dip in our happiness. But before we get into today's topic, we're going to do our 4-minute faves. And we're going to start with Terry today because she needs to refrigerate her fave.
Yes. Mine is Mush, the overnight oats brand.
Oh, yeah. I've heard
had
of that.
Yep.
And I have made overnight oats for my kids and myself sometimes for years since they started eating. So I don't know, Danny's 11. So I don't know, 10 years or so. I've been making overnight oats periodically and they really like it. And I'll make it sometimes for myself. And then I found these and it's all simple ingredients. You can read everything and is a good way to hit your fiber quota because as we all know, fiber is the new protein. And
Yes, this year. Yeah.
this year, and part of fiber. And as a side note, you can't just bulk up with fiber. You need to be hydrating a ton. So you can't just be like fiber. You need to do fiber with a lot of water and hydration. But these I've been mixing with yogurt or just eating by themselves and adding fruit like blueberries or strawberries in. And there's different flavors. There's vanilla bean. There's apple cinnamon. I'm not getting paid by them. There's strawberry.
You brought them all up.
I have them all up. I have to go back in my fridge. And one time a while ago, Costco had them and I got them and I felt like I didn't like them like a year ago, but then I've been getting them at Whole Foods and I probably eat them for breakfast maybe like twice a week or whatever. But because it's oats and oatmeal, it does really fill you up for a while. And it tastes good and it kind of mixes it up and I'm very pleased with them. So
That's fun.
I like that. Yeah. No sugar added.
They have those at the airport. So at the airport, a lot of the
Yeah.
little refrigerated section that has like all the healthy stuff. So they have those sometimes. So I've actually had them at the airport. So
Okay.
if you're traveling, you can look for them at the
To get
airport.
Better than the
refrigerated
hard-boiled
section.
eggs that are in that section.
I am always scared. I'm like, this could
No.
get salmonella. I don't know.
They're tempting, but you just can't.
Don't do it.
No.
I feel like the marketing person, maybe the name Mush, maybe could have been better.
Honestly, though, that's what I think of if you had asked me to guess what was in there, that's what I would have guessed.
Yeah.
That's true.
To
That's
be
true.
fair, I wouldn't have thought it was yogurt,
Yeah.
So
It's oatmeal, oats.
Yeah.
I add yogurt to it.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I see.
Like in my
yes.
brain, mush
Yes.
is oatmeal.
Yes.
Not even though it's a yogurt package. Like the
Yes.
word mush makes me think oatmeal. So for
And
me, that would work.
And it's sold in the section where yogurt is at a grocery store.
Oh, it is.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've seen it. I just have never actually purchased. So that's good to know.
do it. Okay.
Tasty.
That's it. How about you, Vanessa?
So today we're talking about midlife. So this is going to come in handy for any of you who are in midlife. So we always talk about, I think you hear most often about like stuff for your face, like creams for your face, serums for your face. And I have recently been looking for something for like body to like help with like firming your body. And I've tried like some expensive stuff and I'm like, I can't tell if this is making a difference. So I did like a little searching and I had seen some influencer that I follow who also recommended this. But in my search, this came up as like a low cost cream for your body that actually has really nice results. So it's Gold Bond. I don't know if you ever tried this. So it's the Gold Bond Age Renew Retinol Overnight. So it's for your body and you can use it on your face. I don't use it on my face, but I use it on my body. It's like, I think this bottle is 13 ounces. It's like $16, I think. So it's very reasonably priced. And I really like it. So like if you're looking for like a good moisturizer, it's really good. It supposedly has, what was that?
Do you do it overnight since it's called overnight? Because I mean,
I've done it both. Like I do it at night, but I also do it in the morning. I'm actually like horrible with like nighttime routine. I am much better with like a morning routine.
Morning. Yeah.
Like
same.
I
do
try to do
lotion
stuff
in the
at night,
morning.
but I'm so tired that like I'm not a good nighttime. I'm much more like my morning routine, put all the things on. So I've done it both and you can use it. I don't know. You can use it during the day.
I'm not going to rub lotion on my dirty body at night. I shower in the morning.
I know.
Yeah.
Unless you're a nighttime shower. Okay.
Yeah. So if you take a shower at night, but anyway, I've used it during the day too, but it's very moisturizing and the cost I think was really good. And it does have retinol in it. It doesn't say how much it does, but I looked it up and like some independent studies have looked like it has a decent amount. it's clearly not the same as like a prescription retinoid cream. Like it's $16. So don't think that. This is a very good moisturizer is what I would say. So Gold Bond, it's a good one.
It's funny. It feels like things like that, like some of the things that have been, the brands that have been around for forever are the ones people are going back to for these kinds of things.
I mean, if you look at the reviews,
solid ingredients.
Yes. The reviews on both, like Target sells it, Amazon, it's really impressive. Like how many reviews, like thousands and thousands of reviews and good numbers. So if you're looking for a good moisturizer for your body, I'd say Gold Bond.
Amazing.
Yeah. All right. Who wants to share next?
I can go. So I am going to recommend a book that I read over spring break. And the reason I'm recommending it is that it's coming out with a TV show in a couple weeks, May 13th. So it's called The Deal by L. Kennedy. The show is called Off Campus though, so it's a different name for the show.
Okay.
This is just fun. It's just fun fluff. It's nothing my book club is going to be reading. It's nothing intellectual. It is literally just fun. I would say I described it to a friend who reads a lot of like fun rom-com romances. And I was like, it's not as like good as like an Emily Henry, but it's better than like if anyone knows like Tessa Bailey, because Tessa Bailey is like really like it's in between there. So it's set in college and it's about a music major and the star of the like college's hockey team, and they join up for some tutoring. It has two of my very favorite like romance storylines. They are at the enemies to lovers storyline and the fake dating storyline, which of course then transitions into true feelings. So it's got both of those. And what I like about it is that I'm really, really picky with like sex scenes in books. And if you are adding words, that I'm like, nope, like describing things with other words and you can't really talk about the sex in like a way that you're like an adult woman, I don't like it. It turns me off. And this is like the right level. It's not too much. It's better than like Shades of Grey or there was something else. But yeah, Shades of Grey was just like the ultimate like the wording of that.
Too much.
Too much. So very fun. Had to put it down at night, like wanted to keep reading it.
What's it called again? The Deal?
The Deal.
Got it.
And then but
the show is something different?
Yes, the show is called Off Campus.
And it's another hockey storyline.
So that's what's funny is
it is
very
popular.
It is another hockey storyline.
Someone cranked that out. Hockey's hot.
May 13th, Amazon Prime, The Deal. The previews look very promising. I think they're kind of looking for something to fill the Summer I Turned Pretty void. Now, it's funny you mentioned that it's about hockey, because I did see someone saying like, when people are comparing like this show or this book to Heated Rivalry is a little bit like saying The Summer I Turned Pretty is like Saving Private Ryan, because they both have beaches.
Got it.
So, and I'm like, I'm not sure it would go that far, but they are very different. They're just happen to have a hockey player
element.
Yes. So yeah, very fun. That's very light. If you're looking for something to go into the summer that you can like combine with a show, it's a good one.
That's fun.
Cool. Appropriate for teenagers? Oh, appropriate for teenagers or tweens? No? Okay. I only ask because sometimes parents, when I do dyslexia evaluations, are asking, is there any upcoming books paired with shows or movies that would maybe pique my child's interest?
I always recommend that.
Yeah. Yep. So I just was wondering, but okay. It sounds like the sex.
I'm like, this on Percy Jackson. I can't recommend anything else.
I know.
The sex is a bit, maybe an older teen, but like there's for sure like, there's like a rape storyline then and some.
Okay. Nope.
The sex does get pretty graphic. So yeah, I'm like,
no.
Yeah. I'm going to say no to that. Yeah.
Like, would this have been something I read as a 16-year-old? Maybe. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, should I have been reading it? Maybe not. But like,
Okay.
But broad recommendations,
Yeah,
probably.
by your therapist, probably not.
Probably
We're
not.
not going to go down that route.
No.
I told Maddie, because she wants to see the show, and I told Maddie that I would watch the show first, because I'm like,
Yeah.
you never know how much they're going to play up or play down
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
sex.
it's true.
So I was sort of like, if it feels like it's not too much, then she can watch it with me. But I was like, if they do the book, they align with the book, then there's going to be a point where it's going to be like,
Depends who their target audience is.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they're
Yeah.
going for the Summer I Turned Pretty, then they're going to dial it down a bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lauren,
Sounds
what
fun.
about you?
So I am recommending, I wanted to show it to you guys, but I'll of course send the link, a puzzle box for gift cards or money. So Jack just actually, the day we're recording, it's Jack's birthday right now. We just celebrated his birthday with my family yesterday.
Aw.
And my parents have the last few years for each of the grandkids, as part of their gift, put some money in some sort of like puzzle box that you can find them anywhere. But my parents have been like scouring Amazon and finding some really fun ones. And the one yesterday was a lot of fun. And like the grandkids from 4 to 12 were all trying it out, and even the adults were trying it and having fun with it. So it's I don't know if you guys can see it. It's like an egg. It's a 3D egg, and you have to twist and turn it. That's the maze. So picture you're doing like an actual maze on a piece of paper, but you're doing it in your hand to be able to open it and then get the prize, money
cool.
inside, or a gift card or whatever. So I'll send the link, but it was
Yes.
this one was a lot of fun. My parents have done different ones over the years, and this one the kids all had a lot of fun with. And like I said, even the adults. So it's a fun way to sort of add to a gift, especially if you don't know somebody very well. So like think of Terry, you were talking before we started recording about like kids' birthday parties. And I feel like all I'm doing nowadays for kids' birthday parties, if I don't know the kid well, is a gift card.
Same.
Like this would be like a nice way to like make it a little bit more interesting than an envelope.
I love that.
So yeah, it's like a little
Yeah, that's a great
maze.
idea.
It's called like
Cool.
3D maze puzzle box mystery egg. So it was just kind of fun, added to the excitement of getting some cash, to be able to open it. So yeah.
Oh, I love
I have to
that.
say, Lauren, when you posted that picture, I was like, he is your mini. Like,
Oh,
yeah. I always
so
thought he
true.
looked like you, but now I'm like, oh my. He's
yeah, because
like, older,
he's
like,
yeah,
he's
I know,
like your mini.
I know. Yeah, he's got a lot of my genetics there.
Yeah.
Not the height piece. He is passing me in height, very quickly, both of them. But yeah,
he's your mini.
yeah.
All right. So when we got into our topic for, age 47, this unhappiness dip, we started kind of passing around things that we found online. And I thought a good way to start this conversation was sharing a quote that Wilhelmina sent to the group. And it said, in your 40s, there will be a moment you realize the life you're living was designed by the 22-year-old version of you who had no idea what they were doing. It's very important to give the current version of you a vote. What are your thoughts on this idea, this lady?
Really hits home.
Yes.
Yes. For a lot of reasons.
For a lot of reasons. I think any woman in her 40s, mid 40s, late 40s, maybe early 40s, like I don't think it would have hit as well for me even 2 years ago. Maybe.
I agree.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys would agree with that. I don't know if it's hormonal. I don't know if it's just life on this earth, if it's your kids aging and approaching puberty. Whatever it is, it definitely resonates. And it's like, you're right. Your career, where you live, maybe your partner. Think of all the different domains of your life, the different buckets. And you're sort of like, this was a lot of what I planned for, what I worked really hard for, what I've been working towards, that, especially the career choice piece, but that was all chosen by our very young selves.
Yes.
Our very young, inexperienced selves.
Well, we're forced to, let's start with career. That's something that we are essentially forced to decide when we know that our frontal lobes are still developing. So you have this you lack life experience. You have this not totally developed brain. And now we're told to pick what you would like to do for the rest of your life, And sometimes the stars align and you continue to love that. And then other times, I think, and we've talked about this, for different reasons, we would have picked a different path, you know? And so I do think that all those things that you talked about, you're like, I don't know if it could be this or that. I think a lot of those things contribute to this feeling that we have at this age. But yeah, picking your career when you're, you know, so young, I think it's bound to a certain percentage of people who would just say, this is not what I would have chosen.
The unhappiness peaking at 47 tracks in some ways because it really, I think, truly is a midpoint for a lot of people in those different threads of their life. And I think you can evaluate, you know, am I going to live, like the last couple of years have been very similar, right? Once you're sort of in a mode. And so do I live the same year 40 more times and call that a good life? Right?
Yeah.
Well, and I sent you ladies this podcast episode that I had listened to a couple years ago. I don't know when it came out, but whenever it came out, I listened to it.
2024.
2024. Yep.
Okay. And
tell everybody what it is.
It is a Huberman episode. It is, what is the actual number?
I have it here. It's how to find your true purpose and create your best life.
Yes, with Dr. James Hollis. And I kind of stumbled upon this episode and started listening to it and was blown away by what James Hollis was saying, which talks to what we're discussing right now. And he's saying that like the first half of your life is your whole first half is reactive to your childhood, to your family of origin, to cultural settings, to expectations. And he's like, we make a ton of major life decisions in that first half of reactive lives, our partners, our careers, all of these things. And he's like, and then we hit this point, and oftentimes, if you're even aware of it, if everything's worked out, great. But for a lot of people, you hit this point where you're like, I have achieved all of the things I've wanted. And why does it feel flat? Why does my life feel a little bit like, oh, this is it. I'm going to play this day over for the next 40 years and then I'm going to die. And that's like, and Dr. James Hollis goes into, for him, he had a career path that was all lined out and he had achieved it. And then suddenly had this like crippling depression, which like landed him, like completely derailed the rest of that version of himself. And he changed career paths. He went into psychology, and now he's written books. He's like clearly like he's a very well-known psychologist. And that wasn't even his first choice of career. That was his like midpoint shift. And it just, the things that he was saying definitely resonated with me and had me sort of exploring. And I think it was already in that place. So it was just hitting at the right time for me of that midlife point, looking at career stuff, friendships, marriage, all of that. And really kind of having this reckoning of like, this is the one life, right? This is it. Like the things you don't do, the things you don't change, that's just going to be it. And then that's it. You don't get a do-over. You don't get next time I'll do this. Next time I'll choose this path. This is your time. So if you want to change it.
So if you guys had to go back in time, how many, like who would have chosen the career path that we're in right now? And who would have changed it?
I would.
Lauren would have, and I believe you.
So, but here's why. I was thinking about this. And this whole conversation, the link that Wilhelmina had sent, the podcast and sort of the little quotes and the piece about 47. So much of those early years of our adulthood are goal oriented. And if you don't include values with your goals, then I think you get to this point. This is where we're assessing our values. This is where we're trying to figure out what our purpose is. And so if we achieved all the goals, but we didn't really have the values behind them. So I always knew that I wanted this career for a multitude of reasons. A primary piece being, I really valued the idea of making my own schedule and
Yes.
being able to be a mom when I wanted to be a mom, and really be able to have that flexibility in doing so. And so now where I'm at with regard to the career and the mom piece, I feel like there's like such a perfect rhythm for me. And that doesn't mean the day to day isn't like, we're all in May right now. And it is like, I'm like, there's so many things going on in the month of May, and like the day to day scheduling piece, but I can do it. I don't have to say like, oh, I'm stuck in a certain kind of career with a certain
My
kind of
boss
schedule,
won't
and
let
I don't
me.
have
Yeah.
ownership over.
But I think that's different. But I think that's different. Like you're talking here, what you're saying is that like working for yourself, right? Like and being able to have flexible schedule.
Valued
I mean, like
that, and I valued the idea of being able to help others. I
that's
I
what I'm
came
asking
up
more
with
is about
I
being a
came up with my
psychologist.
career based on my values.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I set goals to accomplish the career, but it was all values driven. So that's why I would say yes to your question of like, am I in the career I wanted? Because even before I understood what values were, like now we like learned it along the way with regard to actual like therapeutic work. I think of acceptance and commitment therapy ACT, like, you know, a cognitive behavioral approach of like, yeah, if you're actually like working toward values, you never actually achieve them, right? It's working toward goals that you achieve that then you can end up and be like in that depressive state of like, okay, well, wait a minute, I achieved everything I wanted to, now what? But if there's values behind the goals that you achieve, so for me, that worked out from a career perspective. That doesn't mean everything, but.
And I think it also means that you were aware of your own values. Because I think sometimes people think they're aware of their values, but they're really their family values, and they're not their own values.
Well,
And
that's interesting. I'm going to just interrupt you really quickly, Wilhelmina, because you hit the nail on the head for me. When I was in high school, my senior year of high school, the amount of people that told me I should be a doctor, you should be a doctor. You're so smart. You should be a doctor. I heard that a lot because I was very academically driven and like gifted in that way, and very blessed that I could do that. But I didn't want to be I'm talking primary care, like a physician.
MD.
I had
MD,
zero interest. And if I had listened to all those people, and there were a lot of voices, a lot of adult voices that were saying that at the time, I just knew that that wasn't what I wanted to do on a day-to-day basis. But you are right about it. Sorry to interrupt. Continue. But that is exactly what it is.
No, that's, and I think of the example of like religion, and how we grow up in homes, and often obviously like if you grow up in a religious household, then you take on that religion for yourself. And I think there are points where, especially as an adult, you go, does this religion actually fit with my own values? And sometimes the answer is no, you know? And so there's an example of something that you just like, you grow into, and some people just keep going with it and don't even question it. And some people sort of have this like, is this what I want? Is this what I believe in? Does this go along with my own values? And that was an example that I could think of like a lot of people have this from a very young age. And then they maybe make a point of, do we continue in the same path, or do I make my own path? Of like,
to answer the question that I threw out there is, I don't think I would have chosen this career path. I definitely did not have the foresight at 18, 20 that you had, Lauren. But I do think that my choices were definitely driven by what I was hearing from my family. So I had really wanted to go to art school, and I
forget that.
I had my application. I was going to apply, and you know, I also had straight A's in high school, and I was also really smart. And I got the message that like I would be wasting my time doing that. And what was I going to do going to art school? And, you know, so I went to college because that's what I was supposed to do. And, you know, kind of got out of there with a degree. And, you know, I was like, I ended up with a bachelor's in psychology. And then I was like, well, now what do I do with this? You know? And so I was a caseworker for a year before I went to grad school. And, you know, interestingly enough, my mom is a psychologist. So that's not why I went into this, though. As a caseworker, I got to see people doing therapy with real, like the clients that I was working with, the kids on my caseload. And that was how I said, okay, I want to help people. And while I thoroughly enjoy helping people, there's a part of me that just wishes that I had done something more creative. And so I constantly am finding myself looking for that outlet. Like while I enjoy my work, I feel like I have to find a creative outlet for me to kind of feel fulfilled. To feel fulfilled. So yeah, so for me, the answer would be no, I would have chosen something else. Yeah.
I think I would have chosen psychology because there's certain aspects to it that like I was drawn to it very, very early. And just once I kind of discovered even what psychology was, I was like, that's what I want to do. I've always been fascinated in people and kind of, I feel like I have always been drawn to, well, I want to know more, tell me more. Why do people make the decisions they make? You know, why do they choose different things? Why do some people turn out this way or that way, whatever. So I think and I also, Lauren, just similar to you, I always wanted to sort of be my own manager of my time. Yeah. I hated from a very early age being told like scheduled and different jobs where you have to be here, and you don't get to say when you get to be off or whatever. I just like react to it viscerally. So I sort of was like, I'm going to be in my own private practice. Like I sort of had that direction early on. I think the thing that has come to full circle now is that I did get to the point of like opening my own private practice and being the boss and all of that, and realized, wait, there was actually a lot of aspects to the business side of this.
I just want to be my own boss.
I just want to be my own boss. I don't want to be the boss of anyone else. And that has been well, fuck. Like I just did all of this and achieved it. And I mean, this is what James
You're
Hollis
aware
said.
of it.
I am aware of it, but now it's a little like
uncomfortable.
But I know people who've done that.
I get back into my DeLorean and just
go back. I do know people who are in private practice who, expanded it, had people they work for, and they were like, this is not working for me. And they reeled it in, and now they're just back to themselves. So you can always do that. I mean, and honestly, that's why people always ask me, do you want to expand your practice? And I say, absolutely not. I do not want to be in charge of anybody.
Yes.
No. Because there are things.
Well, Terry, you told me this for years. You told me this for years. I should have listened.
I never wanted to say I told you so, and not to sound like a naysayer.
You did not need to. It's like definitely like I hear you.
But no, you were aware, Wilhelmina. Yeah.
And you guys know I'm pretty open with you guys. But I had the advantage of working at a large group practice for a couple years that you did not have, Wilhelmina. And I saw firsthand behind the scenes all the good, the bad, and the ugly. And my advice to you is coming from that place.
Right.
And so I was able to make a different type of informed decision, just having that lived experience.
Well, and I thought I was going to build it differently, which I did. But then I was like, oh, but that doesn't make money. And I don't want to have to be the keeper of other people's time. And I don't want to
ever. Interesting.
I just don't. So that is a realization of like, I would still choose the path. I wouldn't choose this last bit of it thinking. And it's something I thought I wanted the whole time.
Yeah. And I'm 50-50. So I'm right with Wilhelmina, where I fell in love with psychology. I loved it. Even in high school, knew I was going to major in psychology in college. My plan starting college was to try to get into graduate school and go through and get my doctorate. So I was very focused on that. And I just loved reading about it. I felt really passionate about it. I was very curious. I was always a very avid reader growing up. And I think that if the climate, when I made that decision, this was, 25 years ago, and the field of psychology I thought I was entering and I was preparing myself for, if that was still the current reality, I think I would be 80 to 100% satisfied. I think the climate, working especially with kids and teens with technology and social media and just the proliferation of so many, just the way our society is currently, I don't know if I would have signed up to be in a helping service profession in the current climate if I had known. But if things were how they were 25 years ago when I wanted to enter psychology and had a little bit of work experience, I think I'd be much more satisfied. I think there's so much that we have to manage and navigate that is really challenging. But on the other side, I'm right with you too. I always hated having a boss. I always wanted to work for myself and be my own timekeeper. So there's some really good advantages to this degree in having this profession. We can go teach if we want. We can work in a hospital. We can be self-employed. There's so many different avenues you can take with a PhD in clinical psychology that aspect I feel very satisfied with. I can scale up my work. I can pare it back. So, I feel like I'm 50-50, but I don't wholeheartedly encourage young people to go into this profession unless they know pretty much what they want to do.
They really know.
And if they really know, and do you really need this? What type of advanced degree do you need? Can you stop at a master's? Do you really need a PhD? What do you actually want to do with it? So I feel like I'm 50-50.
But I think with career, like answering that question that Vanessa asked specific to career, as with anything, it's interesting to me, like the flip side of that question of like, why do people think that when you make a decision like this, it has to be forever? Is it because is it like evolutionarily, like we didn't used to live this long? I think it's the investment. So like we didn't question decisions because you were dead at 50? Yeah. Like, is that what?
Well, I think that's part of it.
Part of it's investment. How much time you invested in
the time, the money.
That's true.
Education. The money. I mean, again, obviously this depends on what you do for it, right?
That's true.
Like some of it could just be like, oh my gosh, if I start all over again, like how much money, like, am I going to have to put into some other, that could certainly be it.
And that's probably true of things more than career investment and all sorts of different life choices.
What about other aspects of our lives?
Well, marriage. I mean, you marry someone in your 20s.
Sometimes
you are with them. 20s. You marry someone earlier. You're right. But like, and then
that was one of the things. It's so funny. So Dr. Hollis mentioned this, like whoever, like you really need to listen to that podcast. It was excellent. It's really long. I actually want to go back and to listen to it. But that was another thing that he brought up. And it's funny, Wilhelmina, when I looked back through our text, you mentioned this. And when I was listening to the podcast, I was taking notes on things that he said that just like really like, he just has like such a pleasant, like he has like the voice of like if I envisioned like what a psychologist sounds like that is the voice. And so he talked about the marriage, the 50-year marriage. So he said, he would not applaud immediately a couple who has been married for 50 years because he would want to know what that actually looked like. What do these people look like as individuals? And he even talks about, the soul death that these people may be experiencing. And I just went, I never thought of that. I think what's the divorce rate right now? 50%? Is it 50%?
Oh yeah.
So thinking of that, so like 50% of marriages, are divorced. So now we have 50% left. And of that, we cannot assume that these people are happily married.
Right.
I'm sure the four of us, we each could find a marriage that has lasted that X number of years. And you look at them and you're like, I mean, I think they're just,
is it quality?
They're just in it. Yes. Like they're just literally like, this is their life.
Yes.
And
it's interesting. I've helped people, but I've worked with people before where parents have chosen to stay together until the last kid graduates high school. And those families have more difficulty. Those kids, those young adults struggle more at that point because ultimately everybody says they all knew that like their parents were in an unhappy marriage. And then it feels like even though they knew that their parents were lying to them and then it was just because of them that they stayed, it all feels very cursory and it's confusing. And even though these are like 18 to 20-year-old young adults, it can actually be more harmful to everybody involved than to make that
I've had the same
that shift, that life choice.
I've had the same experience. I could probably, if I had to name how many families I've worked with over the last 20 years, 10 plus probably, where parents waited till they were in college. And that ended up being more stressful for the family dynamic. And it also, I think about marriage. I think about all relationships, even friendships. You start to have a loyalty to the history of the relationship that might not exist anymore. And I think we can prune away. I definitely think people prune away friendships as they age and then add in different ones. And I think when you have a long-term marriage or friendship, you have to think about the history is what got you to this point, and there's a loyalty to that history. but what currently still works?
Yeah.
And is that still working? And because what matters is the present now. Like, it's great, you can recognize that history, but you certainly can't maintain friendships just out of pure history. And I had, I've had some personal experience with that where I'm like, this is just all history based, and this doesn't make sense anymore. That's obviously a lot different when a marriage is involved, but I think the same applies to a marriage, that like, what role does the history of the relationship and the life you've built together, because you go with a marriage from creating and building a life together to maintaining that life. And that's the shift that I think I'm starting to feel, is that we've built the life we have now.
We've hit all those markers.
We've hit those markers.
Yeah.
We're still building, right? Like, our kids are 8 and 11. I mean, Tommy will be 9 next week, but we're now shifting into more of a maintenance mode instead of building. Like, where do we want to live? Should we try to have babies? You know what I mean? Like, what's going on with our careers? Like, we've shifted away from that into the next level.
It shifts from all of that. It's so goal focused when you're younger, in your young adulthood. You are focused so heavily on meeting certain goals. And as we know, values are not goals, and they're more of like a compass, I think, is one of the words that's used in ACT, in acceptance and commitment therapy, that values are the compass and goal is like the spot on the map. So it's like a direction, but if you don't have a sense of the direction, it's like, are you growing together or growing apart? Are you moving in the same direction or not? Because some of those spots on the map have been fulfilled. And so figuring out, like, are we using the same compass or not?
Well, and James Hollis talks about that, right? Like, he talks about the let's evaluate like a midpoint evaluation of a marriage and be like, okay, do we feel like we're growing together? Do we feel like we have similar values and we want to kind of like, we want the same things and we're willing to work on and change the things that aren't working in our marriage? Or do we feel like we're now heading in different directions and it's not working? It's not serving either one of us anymore to stay in this. But he said that takes so much kind of internal awareness, and it takes and
like, if every couple did that, like,
oh my
literally
gosh,
was like, hey, let's just have like a conversation, like, like a very, I just can't see it happening.
Oh, I know. I don't see it happening, but
do you know
how many more marriages would be like probably better served, whether they ended or stayed together, for having that conversation?
Do you know what
I agree with you completely, 100%.
One of the biggest takeaways I got from that podcast episode, which I echo what everyone else is saying here, is it was such a good listen. It's lengthy, so over a couple series of listening sessions,
some chunks,
chunk it out. He said, and I'm what's the word? Paraphrasing. Thank you, perimenopause. So I'm word retrieval. I'm paraphrasing. He said something like, if you really want to dig deep, ask your partner, in terms of thinking about what you can work on or assessing yourself, ask your partner or someone who knows you well, if you're not partnered, what do you think I should deal with that I haven't faced? And be willing to hear their response, because I can tell you 10 things that I think Dan should face, right? I'm sure he can tell me 10 things that he thinks I should face, but am I willing?
Be ready to hear it.
But be ready to hear it. And, I think it's interesting, because I thought about it when I listened to it. I'm like, I should ask Dan that. And my second automatic thought, I was walking the dog, was not right now, maybe later. Like, maybe months from now, years from now. I don't have the bandwidth for that right now.
But do you know what he'd say
about it? That's what I was about to say. Well, I bet
you know what he would say.
You would know what he would say.
You know that the reason you don't want to ask it is because you know yourself a little bit, which means you kind of have an awareness of it, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. I don't think Dan does. I think he. Yeah, but no, maybe he does.
I was going to say, we're having this conversation, and we are all very heightened in our awareness of these things.
Yeah.
So it's there's a little advantage or a disadvantage there, one way or the other.
So I will say this, and I told you girls at the beginning before we started recording that I was going to share this. And I was like, don't worry, nothing I've said. I've said all of what I'm about to say to Owen. So it's going to sound like maybe mean, but I think that not so specifically, but Owen and we've been having those conversations in the last couple of years. Some of the stuff that I've been working on has then kind of forced him to sort of face some things that he hasn't worked on. And so we have been kind of both facing these things. And I have said to him, like, if we were in a place where I asked you to work on these things and you were like, you married me as I am, and that's, like, I don't have to do that, I'd be like, we would be divorced. Like, our marriage would end. If you were still the same person you were at like 19 and 20 and 25 or 26 when we got married, I was like, and you wanted to stay that person, we would not be married. And I've just been very transparent about that, in a way that says, like, I've so appreciated that he's been willing to do the work and to grow, because we are both very different people than we were when we married. And if we hadn't been intentional about sort of like having those conversations, and we've had a couple rough years where it's like, who are you? Why did I make this decision? Like, well, I was making this decision because I was reacting to other internal things for me. And what I thought was calm was actually you just like shutting down. And like, and now I know, and now he knows, and we've worked on it, but it has not been easy. And it has definitely been a rough couple years. But the key is we've had the conversation, and he has decided, and we have both chosen to sort of work on our shit. And work on our shit together.
Flexibility.
It has to be an active
I think that's
choice.
what's hard. Like, what Terry was talking about, like going to your partner and saying, like, what do I need to work on? Or even sitting down with your partner saying, like, is this relationship working? I think it's really hard because it's really hard for people to be able to really, like, we all kind of deep down know, well, I think, I don't want to say we all, I think a lot of people have a good sense of like what their shit is that they need to work on. But to be able to actually be very honest about it, to face it and do something about it is extremely hard. It is extremely hard.
Very
and we're
hard.
saying that, and we're psychologists. Like, so imagine someone who's not in the field and doesn't really understand how much that affects every decision you make in your life, everything you do, right? I think it's really challenging for people.
Change is so hard, especially for adults. It's so hard to change, to translate the internal experiences you have into actual behavior change, and to do that with someone else that you're sharing a life with. And it's not just a romantic relationship at this stage of life. It's a business partnership. It's co-parenting. It's the romantic relationship is like way down here, and you have to keep trying to like bring it up at this stage of life. At least depending on what you prioritize and what you value, there's so much other noise and so many other layers to it. It's truly more of a business partnership than a next phase of a romantic relationship, which is what I think we all think marriage is when you're younger. You're like, oh, it's like the next phase of the romance. And it is until you have kids you're sharing finances and you're caring for a household together. I mean, it's truly like a business partnership.
Then you're dealing with raising kids, you're dealing with aging parents, you're dealing with your own aging body, like mid-career, like it's amazing. It's like,
I know
it's a lot of stuff.
It's all happening at once. I mean, I think there's so many seasons to long-term relationships, and I've gone through periods of time where I've said, I think without a doubt, if I met Dan right now and he asked me out, I would go on a date with him, and like, et cetera. And then I've gone through seasons where I'm like, we met so young and we married young. I don't know if I still would be with you. Like, I still don't know if like you're like, I really think it ebbs and flows, but I think that would be weird if it didn't. I think to just blindly say, okay, this is my husband. I love him. I'm married to him.
I've never wavered.
I've never wavered. That's weird. And I wouldn't expect
You're
him.
either not being honest or
Yeah.
not being aware.
Yes.
Which could be, listen, we've said before that people that have a lack of psychological awareness in some ways are much happier than most people because they just kind of stay right here. I don't know. Well, happy might not be the word.
Ignorance is
like they just kind of hang out.
Yeah.
But no, I think you're right, Terry.
I mean, I think there's just, adding on to that, there's just so much stuff going on in your life. Like if you've decided to have kids, and that was one of the things he brings up. He's like, you really need to have a partner who believes in true reciprocity. If you are both working, like if you both have a career, because if they don't, like
resentment just builds.
So much resentment. Like 100%. If you are constantly working on someone else's goal and you're never like, it's so much easier to like give up something if it's a goal you're working on together. But if you're just giving to some goal that's not yours, like it just starts to wear on you. And so you add into that, like, Terry, you kind of touched on this, like all the things that we're experiencing changes like at this age, just like physically, like, and I don't just mean like the wrinkles and the gray hair, that can be a big thing, right? But even just forgetting things, like, right? Like, don't get up too fast, because if I get up too, right, like my, like actual, like, body and like just all these things, like hormone. I mean, there's just so many things going on. It's really hard, to then be like, okay, now what do I need to give to you in this moment, right? Because you're already having, you can't make that choice with your kid. Like you have to give them what they need, right? And so then you're like trying to do you, and then now you have this person that you're trying to like fill their cup too, right? And it just it can become a lot. And so I can see why people struggle so much at this like phase in life, because
it all makes sense. All these things that women do, that when we were younger and you would hear about women in their 40s and 50s or even 60s changing careers, getting divorced from a seemingly happy marriage, moving across the country, going on a solo trip. What was that movie that was really popular when we were younger?
Eat, Pray, Love.
Yeah, Eat, Pray, Love. Yes. And you're sort of like, okay, midlife crisis lady, like whatever.
And now I'm like, I get it all.
I get it all.
I get it all.
We get it all.
I was reading this thing and it said, instead of thinking of it as midlife crisis, you should think of it as a midlife recalibration. And I
like that.
I like
that was
right.
I think that's what we're all doing.
Because I last year, and I was just saying this to Owen this weekend, I said last year I was definitely going through this place where I kept thinking of like, oh, I'm never going to have that again. I'm never going to have
trying to like go back
or that. Right. Yeah. Like I was thinking like romantic stuff, even like a first kiss, right? Like a first kiss when you like really like that person and you're just like super. And I was like, oh, I mean, I guess if all goes well, right? Like all goes well. There's no like I won't ever have that again. Or your first, think of all the firsts or the new things that are exciting of your like young years. And you're sort of like, oh, that's all behind me now. Like all of that's behind me. And there is sort of a sadness in that of like, oh, that's just it.
Well, like that's. And also things that you never got to do. I mean, I don't think we really talked, like we've talked about the choices that we made, but then there's also the things that we never got to do. And I know that there's this like, well, of course you can still do it. And yes, while I think that there are things that you could probably still do, I think there are things that once you get to this age, like you really can't do anymore. Like, you just, because it would be weird or silly or like for 1,000 reasons. Right. So I do genuinely think that there are things that once you get to a certain point in life, like you're,
like the road, right? Like the road never traveled. I mean, I would love to live on the East Coast, New England, and like on the coast, and that's never going to happen. I just
you don't know that. I mean, you could retire and go there.
But I don't want to be an old. But I don't want to be an old lady living there. I want to be right.
Got it.
Yeah. Like I want to like have little kids in Halloween costumes and trick or treat and live in New England, you know what I mean? In the fall, like it's a whole existence that will never happen. It's like that movie La La Land. Like if anyone has ever had,
it's
such a good movie.
That. I mean, literally in the last
never watched that.
Oh, it's so good.
I know. I remember. Well, you told me you're like you need to watch that. Like
you do.
Yes, I know. And for that reason, I have not.
I mean, it really. If you've ever had any type of other romantic relationship besides the person you've ended up with, it will stir up a lot. And but it's so well done. But it really is like the path that could. So I think it's different. I think there's a life
that could have been.
Yeah, there's a life you lived. There's the path that just is never gonna it's just that ship has sailed. It's not gonna happen. Like what Vanessa was saying. But then there's that middle ground, and that's where it gets really murky, where it's the path that could have been. Because what if you had not like what if you had married somebody else? What if you had gone somewhere else for grad school? What if you had chosen a different college major? What if your parents chose to raise you in a different city? That, you know, on and on and on.
Yeah.
What if you decide not to have kids? What if you decide to stop at one kid? What if you decide to have 5 kids? Like, you know, it just never, I don't know. There's so many could haves versions of your life.
And I think that, you know, you guys know that I love Minneapolis, Minnesota, the Twin Cities. And I always thought I would go back there. Always. Like, I just sort of was like that, like you guys all were like, yeah, you're going to go back there.
Yeah.
And I remember when we bought this house and I just found out I was pregnant with Griffin, and we closed on the house, and within a week I was like, I think I made a mistake.
I remember this.
And I was like almost in like a full, obviously I was hormonal too, but I was like, I remember like almost having like, it wasn't a panic attack, but it probably was close to that, of like, I think we made a mistake. We should, this was it. This was the point. And I mean, I do think it was. I do think it was the point. And I've stayed here. And I do look back at that and think that was it.
That's when you could have moved. Do you think
I will forever. Oh yeah. I always like, if there's like a version where you're like multiverse, where you're living different like versions of your life, like there is a version. I am living in Minnesota. I'm living in the Twin Cities. Like I feel that so strongly. And I remember Owen said, let's make a 5-year plan. And that made me feel better. Because I was like, well, Maddie will be still young. Griffin will just be starting elementary. We could easily move and it wouldn't be that disruptive to their lives.
Yeah.
And we hit that and flew past it because it was like, I mean,
life just
COVID
takes
and
off.
all that. And now I'm like, I can't disrupt their lives at this point. Like Maddie's in middle school. I'm not going to I could, but I'm not going to.
Yeah.
And so it is that path that didn't.
But it feels within reach because you can picture it, you know
we were looking at houses.
Yeah, exactly.
We were literally looking at houses.
It feels close. Okay.
James Hollis had a thing he said that when you get to this midpoint and do this evaluation, and he kind of said, keep in mind, you look for feelings of like flatness in your life. Like if you're feeling sort of like, I've gotten everything, but everything feels a little flat. It doesn't feel like the way I thought it would. Kind of pay attention to that. If you feel like you're living a life of shoulds. And I liked what he said was, at some point you may realize you're just not living authentically for you and for your life and for what you want. And he said, because to live authentically is not a life of comfort. He's like, authenticity is often a disruptor. He's like, if you are living your authentic self, you're not conforming to societal expectations or the expectations of your family. You're living for you. And sometimes that can go right along with what the shoulds, but it often doesn't consistently go with the shoulds. And so if you can get comfortable being uncomfortable, you can actually start to move in the direction of living more authentically for you. But you have to do those things together. Because if you're not comfortable with like anxiety or kind of a lot of
unfamiliarity,
doing something that, yes. Sorry.
I was just going to say, so I mentioned at the beginning that we were going to be talking about the happiness U curve. And so we focused a lot on the kind of the bottom of the U, which is, you know, your 40s. But the good news is that the research shows that as you get out of that phase, your happiness goes up and it increases even more so than your 20s and 30s. So we're going to end on a good note.
So you're saying that in August, I will hit rock bottom at 47.
Yep.
You turn 47.
When you turn 47
but there is
this year.
Hope.
Yeah.
But there's hope because your happiness will go up there and you'll be even more happier than you were in your 20s and 30s when you had less responsibility.
You'll be our guinea pig since you turned 47 this year, Wilhelmina. And my friends in their 50s, I have a few friends in their early 50s, and they seem more, and they'll verbalize that as well, seem definitely more content than they did in,
the research
in their
backs
late
it up.
40s.
This research backs it up that in fact, when you get to your like mid 50s and then even like into your 60s, that happiness increases, partly to do with
I also think you just don't
changing your responsibilities.
Feel as obligated to other people anymore. I think you're just
Yes.
sort of like, you really can hone
Authenticity.
in. Yeah.
You
And
don't
be
care.
like,
You're like,
I'm going to do what works for me. If that aligns with what you're going to do, great. Let's be together. Let's hang out. If not, then I wish you the best.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, good talk, ladies. Well, thank you for joining us today on the Shrink Down. Please join us next time.